This is the card we're going to make today. This is the outside and the inside. And this card was made using the new Cricut Joy. And so let's begin. Okay, I've got my Cricut Design Space open on my Windows 10 PC. And I'm going to come over here and select Images. And I'm going to come over here to Cartridges. And I'm just going to search on color because I know the design cartridge that I want is this. And this is one of the free designs and images that Cricut is having temporarily for those of us who are being quarantined. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to just look through some of these, see which one I want to use. And I think I kind of like this one right here. So I'm going to select this one and insert images. Now in my case, I don't want it to be this size, so I'm going to unlock it. I'm going to put this on an A2 size card. So for the width, I am going to put 4 inches. And for the height, I'll put 5.25. And so this is what the design will look like on my paper. And so you'll notice over here that the actual design itself is a draw. And then there's a square cut out so that it will cut out the design. And so I'm going to go to Make It. Actually, I'm not going to make it on the Maker, so let me cancel this. I want to change from Maker to Cricut Joy. Now I'll go Make It. I'm going to cut it on the mat. My material size I will leave at 4.5 by 6.5. And I'm going to just put it a little bit beyond the red line that is on here because I want to make sure it cuts it nice and cleanly. So I will go Continue. Waiting for it to attach to my Joy. I'll just select Insert Cardstock, and it's telling me to load my pen, and so now we will go to the Cricut Joy. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the blade, and I'm going to put in a pen. This is a glitter gel pen. It's 0.8 and the color is pink. So I'm just going to drop it in and I will close it. And I have a small piece of cardstock here that's cut a little bit larger than my design. I will remove the protective coating or protective sheet on here, and I'm going to put this right up in the corner. And now I will load it through the guides and load it. Okay, and then now I will come over here and select Go. Okay, it is finished with the pen, so I'm going to remove the pen and make sure I keep it capped. And I will just drop the fine point blade back in, close it up, And then I'm going to go back to my PC. Okay, back at my PC, and I will just click go. And I will unload the mat. Okay, and once the mat is unloaded, and I've got an A2 size card base, and I'm going to use a lot of tape runner to put this panel on the top of the card base. Okay, now I'm going to want to add a sentiment to the front of the card. So I'm going to just type the sentiment I'm going to use, and I'm going to look through some of the different fonts. And I'll end up using the Cricut Sans font, using the style of writing. And then I'm going to size it so that it's a good size for the front of the card. And then once I get the sizing down, I'm going to add a shape of a square, and I will size that square to be the right size for the sentiment. And then once I get that sized, I'll duplicate the square and make it just a little bit bigger so that I can have a mask on the back of the sentiment. And once I have those all done, I'll group them together, and I'll see how it looks on top of the original design. And once I'm satisfied, I will hide the original design and start preparing the sentiment that's going to go on the inside of the card. And so I'm preparing a square as a placeholder for the inside sentiment. Okay, I'm ready to print out this sentiment that's going to go on the front of the card. And so for right now, I am going to come over here and just click the eyeball over in the layers view to hide the one that's going to go inside the card. And then I'm just going to come up here and go make it. Now since it's going to be on the mat, and since it's two, I'm going to be cutting out two. It's actually put it on two mats, but I'm actually going to put everything on one mat. So I'm going to come over here, click on my bottom mat design. I'm going to click on the three dots, and I'm going to move the object to the other mat. Now I'm going to position these where I physically position them on my mat. So for the hello, I put that right up in the upper left-hand corner. So I'm going to offset that just a tad. And then I put my bottom mat right at the 2 position. So I'm going to offset that a little bit from the top and the red line. Just like that. And I will go continue. And it's connecting to my Joy. And I'll do the insert cardstock. And now I will go load the mat and put in the pen, and we'll go on starting the writing portion. And here I'm going to place my cardstock onto the mat in the same position that I placed them in Design Space. And then I'm going to remove the blade, and I'm going to put in the pen that I'm going to use to write out the sentiment. And now I'll load my mat into the machine. And I'll just select Go down here. Okay, and it's finished printing. It kind of messed up on the H here. I'll see after it finishes cutting whether or not I can go back and fix that. Otherwise, I'll just fix it manually. But I am going to go ahead and put the blade in, and then I'm going to press Go on my PC. Okay, and it's finished cutting, and I want to make sure that I want to see if I can go over it one more time with my pen. Okay, and then I'm going to come back over here and rerun. And then I will press Go. And even though I redrew the sentiment, it still didn't quite draw, so I'm just manually taking a ruler to finish that off. There must have been something on the cardstock that interfered with the laying down of the gel pen. So now I'm going to use quite a bit of my tape runner and put it down on the cut mask that I also prepared. And I'll use some foam tape to attach the sentiment to the front of the card. Now I'm going to place the piece of cardstock that we're going to use for the inside sentiment onto the mat. I'm placing it up in the upper left-hand corner, but I'm offsetting it by about 1/8 of an inch along the top and the left-hand side. Okay, this time we will hide our hello, and we will unhide these, and we will go make it on the mat. Now I'm going to position this about where it is. The big square, remember, was the placeholder. I'm going to come over to this one that has the text, and I'm going to move this one to the mat that has the placeholder so that I can just kind of place it here. And you remember when we put the paper down, we placed it so that it was about 1/8 of an inch down, which corresponds to this dotted red line. So hopefully when we print this out, it's going to be in the center of our already cut piece of paper. Now I'm going to highlight my rectangle, which is my placer. We don't need it, so I'm going to hide it. And so now I'm going to go to continue. It's going to connect to the Joy. We'll just select Insert Cardstock. Now I'm going to go load the mat. Okay, so I am loading the mat, and I've got my pen in. And now I'll go press Go. And we'll press Go. Okay, it's finished, so I will click Unload. And we will unload it from the mat. Here's the front and the back, or on the inside. And next I'll put a few sequins on it to add some embellishments to the front of the card. And so here is the finished card, outside and inside. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye! And here's a little bonus for those of you who have stuck around. This is how I power my Cricut Joy when I'm not near any power plugs. This is the Halo Bolt, which I got off of Amazon. And it has a regular 110 volt power plug on the top. It also has a couple of USB ports. So if I want to use my foil quill or some other device that requires a USB port, I can also plug that into this.